At the bar of North Beach Restaurant in San Francisco. And it's the beginning of the year, 2003. And we have quite a list of wines over here. We have about 500. And the wine list is right there. It's very interesting because the reds are there, and down below the whites are, they say, on ice. They are not really, but. And it's taken quite a while to do this list because I met Lorenzo, who's the owner of the North Beach Restaurant, Lorenzo Petroni, in 1971. What an interesting little story that was. I came here from being the vice president of Banfi. At that time it was called Banfi Private Corporation. Today it's called Villa Banfi. And it was a very small company and became a very, very big company, which would take quite a segment to tell you a little bit about it. Well, anyway, the main item that we had was Riunite Lambrusco. And quite a story. I should tell you a little bit about this. It's interesting. You have to understand that in 1967, Lambrusco was not, nobody knew it. And if you can understand that, then you'll understand why it was an incredible situation of building a brand, okay? And I went to Italy to get this wine as vice president of Banfi. The owners of Banfi did not want this wine because they had a problem. They had the wine 10 years before me. And they sold 5,000 cases, and gee whiz, why 5,000 cases? Do you want to give it up? I spoke to the old man, Mariani. The maiden name of one of the wives was Banfi, just to let you know. He says, I don't want you to get Lambrusco. And I listened to them, and I ordered 300 cases of Lambrusco in Italy. Brought it to America. Didn't sell a bottle in New York City or New York State, but we sold it out of state to Ohio and Chicago, where there was pockets of Italians that wanted this kind of frizzante wine called Lambrusco. As I said, the story of Lambrusco is like 4.5 hours to tell. It's a hell of a story, marketing everything, not just the wine, etc., etc. And what happened was that the 300 cases were sold like that, boom. And so I ordered 1,000 cases. I thought we could control the frizzantino, because that was the problem, okay? Which I won't get into right now. And then we had 1,000 cases to sell. The wine shipment arrived on the 27th of December. You want to know when? It was 1968, I'm sorry. And in 1969, in January, how many cases do you think we sold in New York City of the 1,000 cases? Oh, wait. No, you're wrong. It wasn't all of it. It wasn't half of it. It wasn't a quarter of it. It was 13 cases in January. Unbelievable. Then we tripled the sales in February. Can you believe that? We had a few cases left over. 900 and something. The Marianis brought me into their office. They said, look, you ordered this wine. We told you not to order it. Our father told you not to order it. And you went ahead and ordered it. And now we have 900 cases plus in the warehouse. You know, we can't afford this. Except either you get rid of the wine or we get rid of you. We had no salespeople. I hired one person. And then, you know what I did? Nobody did this. You know Manhattan? There's First Avenue, Second Avenue, Third. I went up First Avenue. You know how long First Avenue is? Have you ever figured it out? It's about maybe 5 miles long. So I went up, every store, no restaurants, every store, taste this. Coca-Cola Italiana is called Riunite Lambrusco. Hey, that's pretty good. Send me 3 cases. And the next store, you know, there's a store almost in every block practically. And I went down 2nd Avenue, and I went up 3rd Avenue, and I did this not for weeks, for months and months and months. That's how I got to know all the stores in New York, just to give you an idea. And my sales manager who also was going to be fired, because it was in March, so we started. I said, just put a case in the car, it'll be cold, don't worry about it. In New York, it gets nice and cold. And so, you know, as I said, this is a very long story. I'm giving you the short story. What happened I think it was in beginning of May, we got rid of the 1,000 cases. And the boys brought me into their office, in other words, the sons of John Mariani Sr. And they said to me, Tom, we want to congratulate you. For what? I said, you got rid of the 1,000 cases. I hope this teaches you a lesson not to buy things we tell you not to buy. We don't want Lambrusco. We don't care for it. Well, I said, it teaches me such a lesson, we got to order 2 more containers. Another 2,000 cases. They looked at me as if I was completely out of my bird. And I mean it. We don't even want 100 cases. I don't care. We have reorders. We don't care. If you insist, you can go out and pre-sell it. Pre-sell it. You know what that means? It means it comes in about 2 months, 2-3 months, okay? And we want signed purchase orders by every retailer you sell it to, so they don't forget. Okay, you want to do that? So I went out with my sales manager. It took about 2 months, and I sold the 2 containers. And I said to the boys, well, you want to order it? Here are the signed purchase orders. And they ordered it. P.S., because as I said, it's a long story. At the end of the first year, we sold 7,000 cases. At the end of the second year, we sold 29,000 cases. At the end of the third year, we sold 100,000 cases, and there were other brands of Lambrusco coming to the market, which is a very long story, which I'm not going to get into. And at the end of 7 years, 7.5 years, we reached 1 million cases. You realize we couldn't give it away in the beginning. Nobody knew what it was. It's like taking a banana to the moon, if there were people there. You can touch it, you can feel it, but you can't eat it. And you try to explain that to somebody, that's another story. It'd be interesting to tell you about what kind of market is the Lambrusco market. To who we sold it to. A couple of words, young people. If you give a young person a wine like 15, 16 years old, a dry wine, ugh. But if they have Lambrusco, Swedish I should say, hey, they like it. And then instead of drinking beer, they drank Lambrusco. Then we went to the screw top instead of having the corks, which is another long, long story. And these young people, after a while, they become 20, 21, they want dry wines. Lambrusco's too sweet. No good, you know. So anyhow, the point is that after 7.5 years, we reached 1 million cases. We went on local television, New York, and I left Banfi because I was a little bit bored with the situation. And I started my own company. And I went to Italy for 3 years to search out producers, which is another long story. Can you imagine explaining to you, staying in Italy for 3 years, going to one area, staying a month or 2 weeks in this place, and depending on the area, you know, in Piemonte and Tuscany, I must have stayed a year between the 2 areas because they're the 2 most important areas. And there was a lot to learn, you know, and I mean it. It's really expensive telling you, but you really learn, you know, not these books that you read, etc., etc. Well, the books at that time, they didn't know what the hell they were talking about Italian-wise. They were talking about Oviedo and Verdicchio and Chianti and this and Chianti. They only changed it about 100 times in the last 35 years. And anyway, all I want to say to you is that then I went to the... I continued doing my exporting. I'm an exporter. I'm not an importer. I sell to importers. And as I said, I met Lorenzo in '71. I'm here now in San Francisco, and I've been helping his list the last 7, 8, 9 years, I think it is. And I have two hats. You know, one hat is I'm a buyer with Lorenzo at this restaurant, and then I have the other hat where I'm selling. You know, it's very interesting. Buying, I just changed the hat. You know, I did the same thing in Chicago. I had 3 importers in Chicago. Can you imagine that? People would come to the restaurant to sell me wine, and I'd be going out, to sell to others. You know. So anyhow, I think this segment is.